Sego, and welcome to another month of transition into motherhood. So for this first week video, I kind of wanted to touch base on COVID and pregnancy and delivery. And also just a reminder too that it's not just all of Ontario follows these guidelines, they change all the time. I remember when I was doing research for, another update a few months ago, everything's completely changed, and it's all based on also where you live. Coming out of lockdown, there's still some cities that are in, code gray. Some are going into orange and, the lesser restrictions. So I just kind of wanted to touch base on also too. I've talked to a lot of mothers who have given birth recently and just wanted to talk about, some of the things they gave me permission to share on how it was giving birth. So, when you're going to your doctor's appointment, obviously you'll be wearing a mask. If it ever comes down to if we were to go into lockdown again, especially if you're coming up to your delivery date, a lot of people have been getting their appointments in the car, and it also depends too on the doctor. Each doctor's office is a little bit different. They have, they all have the same rules and protocols, but some doctors may say you can come in as long as it's yourself, or I'll come out to your car. I know the birthing center, there's a few birthing centers I've talked to, and if the person is in the beginning of their pregnancy, so maybe like first trimester going into second trimester, they do a lot of appointments to the car, and they just come out, check up on you. They listen to baby's heartbeat, make sure that's okay. And then obviously as you get closer to your due date, they'll be wanting to do more, coming to see you more and having a longer visit. So it's all about making sure you're also in the right mindset, thinking, it's okay if things change, because I know for myself, I have a hard time with change, especially when I was pregnant. So even during delivery, when things changed up on me and it didn't go exactly as my birth plan, that was hard for me to accept. And I do have, there's a video on Niwasa's YouTube page if you want to watch it, on my birth story and kind of how things played out. And also to, if you were to ever get any testing done. So if you have your ultrasound, I know if we get, I'm trying to remember at the top of my head, more, more restrictions are lifted. You're able to bring one person with you, but for right now, it's just yourself. And I know that's really disheartening. A few mothers I've talked to said that was probably, aside from getting ready for all the changes for delivery, that was something they could kind of prepare for and they had time to. But when it came to, sharing that moment of seeing your baby on the ultrasound, it was hard because, your partner couldn't come in. They had to wait in the parking lot, or you had to go by yourself. So that was one of the things they said that was probably more challenging. So, and then another thing too is as you get closer to your due date, I'm sure if you have a midwife or, OB, you will be talking about all the protocols so that they can make sure that you're ready and prepared for anything that could happen, anything that can come up, and how to prepare for that, what labor and delivery will look like, because there's a few different options too. You can still give birth at home, and a lot of the moms I've talked to said they did give birth at home and they found it more relaxing, especially because trying to stay safe. Everybody had to wear a mask. If you're in a hospital, the only time you're really able to take your mask off is when you're pushing. that initial time is when you can take it off. I know if restrictions do, if they raise restrictions, or say where you're living goes into a different color zone, a more restrictive color zone, you may have to. I know for lockdown, a lot of women said you had to, but once outside of lockdown, you were able to take your mask off while you're pushing for delivery. And, after I made sure you and baby were okay, that was when the mask had to come back on. So, and it's all completely up to you. If you would rather give birth in a hospital, by all means, go for it. Don't think just because, people are saying it's more comfortable giving birth at home. It's all your preference. It's what makes you comfortable. What setting will you be the most comfortable in? Regardless of COVID and restrictions, it's so important to go with what you feel and not try to listen to what everybody else said worked for them, or you should try this, or you should try that. Go with what you feel. What will you be most comfortable in? Because at the time, you will need to be so mentally prepared, I think. And being in that good, positive setting that you feel most comfortable in will help with that. So that's just another thing to think about too is, I know a lot of people say, well, this is what happened when I gave birth, because every woman I talk to, their experience while giving birth and being pregnant during COVID it's not the same across the board. Some people said they kind of enjoyed the prenatal visits because it was pretty fast, straight to the point. They're able to go home. Others had a hard time with it because they like to, they had so many questions. They wanted to sit down, and they felt like they missed out on having being able to sit down and have that nice chat with their midwife or OB. And then another question I got too that I wanted to clarify too is that doulas are welcomed to give birth. Doulas can still be there. I know a lot of people were asking if they were able to be there, if you can have a doula, and yes, you can. And the other thing too is if you're breastfeeding and you have COVID, you can still breastfeed the baby. I know that was another recent study that I really wanted to make a point and let everybody know you can still breastfeed. And there's so many people who I've talked to as well. I just been kind of doing my own little research, talking to friends, family, people in the community on if, I'm from Akwesasne, and Akwesasne did, a few of my family members did have COVID. They were still breastfeeding, and they said out of everyone in the household, the 2 people who didn't catch COVID were the ones who were breastfeeding. So, I've even had elders say they were drinking breast milk. I know a lot of people are probably like, oh my God, like drinking someone else's breast milk. But back then, it was normal. It was normal for people to drink breast milk. It was normal to breastfeed someone else's baby. I know it can be a little taboo at times, but it was just a practice that happened back in the day. So I hope this clears up any questions. Like I said, if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. I know you will be talking to an OB or a midwife, or if you have any questions too, say you're thinking about becoming pregnant and you're just a little wary at the times right now, by all means, they are so helpful. Any person I've talked to, any person I've called, always had, loving responses, making sure you're comfortable and everything. So, as much as hard times as it feels right now, people are really coming together and make sure everybody's safe and happy and having a positive labor and delivery and pregnancies. So I hope this helps, and we'll see you guys next time.